So far, the modified master has very much been Daniel McKenna on a dramatic day when we lost David Bogie, Phil Collins and Wesley Patterson. Join us after the break for part 2 of the modified battle.
Day 2 of the Topaz Donegal Rally starts with 3 new stages tackled twice before 2 runs over the classic Gary Gorton Knockalla stages. With conditions patchy, the 2-wheel drives have a tricky morning and modified leader Daniel McKenna is amongst the many morning spinners. He still maintains a 57-second lead after 12 stages.
Hitting the first stage again, we're lucky. Just a wee bit distracted, we've still a wee problem with the back axle, but we've no, we can't get any spare axle in or anything, so we're just going to continue on, hopefully it'll last. But I just wasn't listening to Andrew enough and caught out in a tight corner, and lucky enough we got away with it again, and then with an overshoot then later on in the stage, but we're still in one piece and we're just going to try and continue on, hopefully the axle will last at the end.
The top Donegal driver Damien Gallagher was second overnight. He was also a spinner on stage 7 and he's about to drop to third. On stage 12, however, he drops right out with transmission failure. It's a dramatic morning as Barry Mead, third overnight, crashes out on stage 9. And John Dalton is on an absolute charge. He climbs up to second by virtue of a fastest time on stage 10, being just a whisker behind McKenna on stages 9 and 11. Manus Kelly was fastest on stages 7 and 8 and climbs to 4th before he's sidelined with a broken half shaft on stage 12. With Manus and Damien Gallagher out, that means Brian Brogan takes up the mantle of top Donegal driver in 3rd place, despite suffering a broken brake disc this morning. Eugene Ferry had been ahead of Brian overnight, but an overshoot and side-swiping a bank on the Grove Hall test means he's now half a minute behind. Paul Harris is about to lose time, stuck in a ditch on stage 9. That allows Martin McGee to move up. Harvey is having a fabulous run. He's leading Class 13 and is 5th in the modifieds, despite grappling with power steering failure all morning. Rodney Wilton is on a charge. He's set his sights on 3rd place Brian Brogan. Samuel Kelso is 7th and 2nd in Class 13 for the 2-litre cars. Adrian Hetherington has woken up today. He's in 8th and climbing. Frank Kelly in 9th is 3rd in Class 13. Davy Graham has slipped his Evo 6 into 10th place after the morning's dramas. Mark Barnett is half a minute behind him with his 2-litre Escort. It's 1600 par for Kevin Gallagher in 13th, who leads Class 11 in the rare and sharp-sounding MG Super 1600. Jeffrey Dolan is next up in the Sunbeam. It hasn't been an easy morning for Jeffrey with alternator trouble. And just listen for this misfire. Now this spin on stage 10 adds to Jeffrey's problems. He overcomes it beautifully though, and by reversing he doesn't have to travel back up the stage. Arthur Kieran's, with his young son Mac co-driving, completes the top 15 as we head towards Knockalla, where the Bonner fans have marked their support for Vincent's nostalgic return.
Back in 1983, Vincent Bonner and Seamus McGettigan became the first Donegal winners of this international event, and they've been reunited with the Mark II Escort for this 40th anniversary rally. It's been 20 years since Vincent sat in a rally car or even went close to a rally, but the fans have certainly not forgotten their Donegal hero, who also starred in an Opel Ascona and Manta 400s. Isle of Mull driver Callum Duffy has lent his Escort for this occasion, and they climb as high as 25th in the National, Vincent finding the new generation Mark II a very different machine from his 1983 winning example.
Yeah, I had no intention of doing any rally at all, and the club then got on to me to see myself and McGettigan, because we're the first to win it as a Donegal crew, and after a wee bit of persuading, yeah, they put a package together and this is us. I never thought it was as popular, to be quite honest with you. Every time I stop, there's people wishing me well and hoping that I'm going to come back and everything else. I can't believe it, you know. Really, really, really delighted about it all, you know.
And everyone is delighted that they make it back to Letterkenny to a real hero's welcome once more.
Yeah, we're delighted to be back. You know, it was a very, very hard rally. In fact, when we were rallying, I don't think it was as tough as this. And we are delighted to be back. We went off 3 times, and normally if you go off once, you can never get on. But we were lucky we got on every time. So we're very, very delighted to be back.
I thought maybe it's more and better than this year than it did years ago. I think maybe the wee race did them no harm. So maybe another 10 years, go back to the 50th, please God.
Fabulous memories. And many will remember the Scanbits Escort's antics on this event, thanks to Daniel McKenna's sensational speed as he leads the Mark II men back to the Letterkenny finish this year. He extends his lead to 1 minute 14 seconds, in spite of a hair-raising fifth gear spin on the day's final Knockalla stage and those continuing back axle worries.
We're still worried about this diff, but hopefully it'll hold out now for the rest of the rally. 6 more stages to go, so we can get through them, we'll be happy enough. We're just being careful not to over wheel spin and going over jumps and stuff like that there. But yeah, we've good enough lead now. We should be able to, you know, just get car home without making any silly mistakes and hopefully get the national, you know.
John Dalton was actually the fastest national runner over the final damp Knockalla test. It was a brave feat in this twitchy machine, and he now looks secure in second place.
The first stage after service was difficult because we lost brakes, just locked up several times with us, and so you just lose a bit of confidence on your braking. But it did get better as we went through, and then Knockalla, it just worked really well. We used the car and it was working like a dream, really.
Brian Brogan is a little less secure in third, as Rodney Wilton is starting to close, but 52 seconds should be enough. Rodney is driving an Escort that's been much revamped in recent months and is looking increasingly more comfortable in the driving seat. Adrian Hetherington and Gary Nolan are happy in fifth and happy with their choice of tyres for the damp stages. While Conor Harvey on his first Mark II outing is delighted to be joint fifth with Adrian and still leading Class 13. Martin McGee is just 5 seconds back, a spin on Knockalla costing him a few of those seconds. And Eugene Ferry is right on his tail, just 3 seconds behind. Frank Kelly, in spite of a wrong tyre selection, is now 9th and 2nd in Class 13, as Samuel Kelso retires. Davy Graham in his Evo 6 completes the top 10.
42 left, over jump.
Jeffrey Dolan is 27 seconds back in 11th. And he's now 3rd in Class 13. Conor Murphy reads the notes as Jeffrey attacks Will Hare's Bend with gusto. As the day draws to a close, the Scottish fans are delighted to see that their hero, David Bogie, has come back out for a few stages in the glorious V6 MG Metro 6R4.
It's Inishowen ahead for the final day of the Topaz Donegal Rally, where there are 6 fabulous stages in store with 2 blasts round the streets of Buncrana to finish off a memorable weekend. For Daniel McKenna, it's a matter of watchful concentration as he actually extends his lead to over 2 minutes by lunchtime. John Dalton loses a little time with a broken throttle mechanism, and Brian Brogan in 3rd place suffers from a misted up screen. He now has Rodney Wilton almost in his rear mirror, just 21 seconds behind. It's a race to the finish. Adrian Hetherington is keen to get to service. The Escort has a broken engine mount. But it's worse for Conor Harvey, whose great drive ends when the head gasket fails on the Escort. Only 4 seconds separate Martin McGee and Eugene Ferry in their battle for 6th place, and Frank Kelly has now inherited the Class 13 lead in 9th place. Whilst David